I will be discussing the cultural, political, and legal environments in China, Hong Kong, Japan, and South Korea. First, I will be talking about the languages in each of these countries. The language that is mostly spoken in China is Mandarin. About 70% of the population speaks Mandarin. In Japan, Japanese is the official language spoken by millions. In Hong Kong, the official language is Cantonese. About 89% of all households in Hong Kong speaks Cantonese. Last is South Korea. The main language spoken in South Korea is Korean. Korean has a number of dialects, and the main dialect used in South Korea is the Hangul dialect. Now I'm going to talk about religion in these countries. In China, the majority of the Chinese people practice Buddhism. In the 1st century during the Han Dynasty, Buddhism was established. Buddhism started to be widely accepted by common people and even emperors. In Japan, around 84% of Japanese people profess to follow both Shinto, the indigenous religion of Japan, and Buddhism. Shinto does not have a founder, nor does it have sacred scriptures like the Bible. Shinto gods are called kami. They are sacred spirits which take the form of things and concepts important to life, such as wind, rain, mountains, trees, rivers, and fertility. Religious freedom is one of the fundamental rights enjoyed by people in Hong Kong. There are 3 major religions: Buddhism from India, and Taoism and Confucianism from China. There is ancestral worship in Hong Kong as a way of honoring the dead ancestors. Religion in South Korea is prevailed by the traditional Buddhist religion and a large but decreasing Christian population. Based on statistics collected by South Korean administration, about 46.5% of the country's population convey no spiritual preference, 29.3% are Christians, and 22.8% are Buddhists. In this next section, I'll be discussing the country's political systems. China's 4 main political components are Chinese Communist Party, the People's Liberation Army, the state, and the National People's Congress. The role of the Chinese Communist Party is controlling the military armed forces and internal security forces, control of personal appointments across all political institutions, control of the media, and control of the judiciary and internal security. The People's Liberation Army protects and defends China from internal and external threats per CCP's direction. The state, which was established in the 1970s, manages the day-to-day administration of the country. The National People's Congress approves government reports, laws, and candidates. NPC meets every March for 10 days, and the Standing Committee meets every 2 months. Next is Hong Kong. Under its constitutional document, the Basic Law, Hong Kong is an autonomous special administrative region of the People's Republic of China, except in defense and foreign affairs. The Basic Law guarantees that autonomy for 50 years and designated a system of governance led by a chief executive and an executive council. Hong Kong's chief executive is the head of Hong Kong's special administrative regions. The chief executive is responsible for implementing the Basic Law, signing bills and budgets, making decisions on government policies, and issuing executive orders. He is assisted in policy making by the Executive Council. The Executive Council assists the Chief Executive in policy making and advises the Chief Executive on matters relating to the introduction of bills and subsidiary legislation. The main administrative and executive functions of government are carried out by 13 policy bureaux and 61 departments and agencies, staffed mostly by civil servants. The civil service employs approximately 156,000 people, or about 4% of Hong Kong's workforce. Now I will talk about Japan's executive, legislative, and judicial branch. Japan is a constitutional monarchy where the power of emperor is very limited. The emperor is defined by the constitution as the symbol of the state and of the unity of the people. In Japan, generally, decisions are made on a majority vote, but two-thirds majority is required in special cases. In the Japanese political system, there are lower and upper houses. The lower house is the House of Representatives, and the upper house is the House of Councilors. Within the judicial branch, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. The Chief Justice is appointed by the Emperor following selection by the Cabinet. Lastly is South Korea. Every 5 years, Korean citizens above the age of 20 elect the president in a nationwide direct, equal, and secret ballot. The president is the head of the executive branch and represents the nation externally. The president serves a single 5-year term with no additional term allowed. Under the current political system, the president plays several major roles. The president has the duty to uphold the Constitution and protect and preserve national independence and territorial integrity, as well as to carry out the unique task of attending a peaceful unification of Korea. In this capacity, he enforces the laws passed by the legislature and issued orders and decrees for that purpose. He is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and has exclusive authority over military policies, including the power to declare war. Legislative power is vested in the National Assembly, which is composed of 299 members serving 4-year terms. The National Assembly is charged with a number of functions under the Constitution. The foremost is making laws. Major functions of the Assembly include deliberation and approval of the annual budget, audits of the administration, matters related to the foreign relations, declarations of war, the dispatch of armed forces abroad, and impeachment.